much for granting us access into your beautiful world, dear Kristian. You are you are one very exceptional creative. How you combine dance with a variety of arts is awe-inspiring. How you reflect deep and beautiful messages in between your work should be studied. Can you please share some highlights of how you began your creative journey? Like just give us a breakdown or a summary of how you began your creative journey. Maybe as a dancer. I know you are also an illustrator, but you could just give us a summary of both.
So I think there is no particular day when I would feel that I became an artist or I became creative. I think things have been forming since I have been very small. And I remember since being a child, I would always go for a walk and look for objects, I don't know, I would go pick up some things from the forest and make something from them. So I always already like to imagine that there is a world beyond our real world. And I enjoyed to imagine that anything that is in my mind could be real. But of course, then there are particular moments that are important in my career. So when it comes to dance, when I was 11 years old, we went for a family trip to Paris with our family, and we saw a performance on the street of b-boys. And I stopped there with my older brother, Marek. And when we saw them performing on the street for people with music, with just with nothing, just with music and a little bit of place on the concrete, and we saw what they can do with their bodies and how happy it makes them, we realized that it's something that we would love to do as well. And we came back to Prague and started to go to breaking classes. And it was sort of love at first sight, because before we were doing both football or soccer. And we felt that it's not the healthiest environment for us to be. It's a very competitive, and there is a hierarchy of the coach and the players. But once we discovered dance and we started to go to classes, we realized that we are all one, despite how old we are and who is the coach, who is the beginner, but we were all supporting each other. And also in dance, there is a strong emphasis on your individuality and how you want to dance and what your body can do. So this is what I enjoyed so much, because I felt like in soccer, I couldn't really fit well. I was sometimes slow, sometimes I couldn't run so fast, or I was very nervous to be in a team against someone else. But in dance, I realized that I could just be myself and go in the way of how my body wants me to be. So yeah, that's a little bit of overview, if it's enough.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Like the fact that you just found your true self in dance without limitations, without boundaries. I think that's what true art means, and that's really inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that. Speaking about art, what does art mean to you?
What art means to me, I really enjoyed what you said in the beginning already, that art for me is something beyond even sometimes beyond who we are. And I think it's something timeless, or something that could be timeless, some kind of footprint in the time where we are. And even though we age and we die, art and what we make is something that remains here, and that is a message about the time where we live, or what the artist or the creator thinks and feels. So for me, it's little footprints that I leave in this world, and a little little messages of what I feel and what I think, because I want to leave something out of my body to have its own life, whether it's a dance performance or artwork, and just leave it there for people to see and move on. So I would say something timeless, and something that maybe isn't even part of us here, but it's something that we live in the particular time. And then the artwork or anything that we make have its own life, and could speak to people in 10 years, in 50 years, in 100 years. So
Yeah.
for me, it's a little, at least, yeah, I don't know in general the definition of art, but for me, it's, as I said, it's a print of how I feel and what I think at the moment, and leaving it out of my body for people to grasp and try to understand.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. Like I've had so many definitions of art. You know, we conduct like interviews upon interviews and I read widely, but I've never heard it in this way before. And that's the beauty of our diversity, like bringing our heads together to speak about one thing. See how much different people can speak about just a single thing. That's beautiful. I really like the part where you said little footprints. Little footprints. I've never really thought about it that way before. Like leaving our footprints on the sand of time, even when we are no more, those footprints will remain. And like pouring, you talked about pouring out yourself also in those footprints, because your footprint is who you are and all. So I think I'm going to quote you, and don't worry, I'll give you credit to the quote. When I maybe have a and I post a picture, I'm going to tag you and give you credit to the post. Thank you so much for
Wow, thank you.
sharing.
Feel free to use it
Yeah,
anytime you feel you want.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, so this third question is somehow similar to the first, but is primarily on dance now. We are grateful to have you on board this special issue in celebration of all inspiring dancers around the world. I don't know if I told you we are interviewing over 7 dancers for this edition. So before now we usually have our editions to be like a makeup of dancers, filmmakers, like different people from different backgrounds together. But this year, 2023, we are doing editions for only dancers, for only filmmakers, for only writers, like just to make it very specific. So this month, we are interviewing only dancers. Yeah. So also it's also in honor of the International Dance Day 2023, which is this month. We know how unique and special the art of dancing is to each dancer. As an individual passionate about this art, what does dance mean to you? I know you've told us a part of this answer already from the beginning, but just again, what does dance mean to you?
Uh-huh. It's many things that I will sort of just throw to you, and you can try to make sense. And there is no order. It's just the way it comes to my mind. First of all, dance for me is discovery of my body, and discovery of the ways I could use my body, because I think people who don't focus on their body use it on a very small percentage. Just to walk, just to sit, just to lay down, just to do functional things. But there is millions of things that I discover about my body that I can do, and I'm still very surprised of the possibilities of my body. So it's a way to discover my body and to see that my body has tries to make a conversation with me, which I often ignore. But anytime I have some pain or anything on my skin or something, it's always it's always a communication with me. And I try to see it and understand it. So first it's discovering my body, and then it's a social thing. It's a way for me to meet people in an easier way, because I know we share something. We share the love of to move and to music. So I think most of my best friends and most of the close people I've met is through dancing, because it's when I know someone is a dancer, we have already broken many layers because we know we share something and we have so much in common already. So second thing is a social thing. Third thing, it's besides discovering my body,
Yes.
it's a way to discover my feelings, which sounds very large scale, but it's also true that sometimes I cannot express how I feel with words. But when I play a song and I start to dance, I feel like it's easier for me to dance how I feel. And play with the feelings through movement. And at the same time, it's to discover my emotions and to also evoke new emotions. So if I want to feel in a particular way, dance really helps me to feel happy. If I start a day and I play one song and I pump myself through dancing, the happiness really comes also through the body and through the music. And then many other things. Through dance, I discovered millions of beautiful songs that I never heard before. Through dance, I discovered the world because it gave me a reason to travel and to go to different competitions and performances. Through dance, which is also important, I started to make money and make a living, which is a beautiful feeling that I can combine it as well, and it doesn't have to stay a hobby anymore, but I can also it can also be my job. Oh, so I think it's many things from different sections, but this is what is dance for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing like your authentic truth in your own very way. I really like the part where you talked about you also it was also a platform that you made money, because I talked about this with one of our past interviewees. Like sometimes as creatives we shy away of talking about how we make money from our art. Like maybe we feel like maybe these professional courses like medicine, being a lawyer, being a doctor, some people feel like that's the only path to make a living, but there's nothing as beautiful as making a living from doing what you love. So it's really beautiful. Like it's one of, like I mentioned earlier, it's one of the things we really want to achieve. We really want to create platforms that creatives can just wake up in the morning and go to work, the work that they love to do, and make a living from doing that. It's more fulfilling doing that. So thank you so much for sharing that part of your story. You have continued to thrive as a creative, named the Forbes 30 under 30 fellow. That was under Europe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I know there's Africa, there's Europe, and there's Asia. Okay. You also worked with many big names in the industry and more. What do you consider most fulfilling right now as a recognized dancer worldwide? What's the most fulfilling things to you right now?
Of course, the priorities change with time. And I remember when I started to dance and someone bought me a first flight abroad, it was the most incredible thing. Or someone invited me to go somewhere, or I received the offer to be in a music video. I felt like this is it. This is the top of what I can achieve. But now with time, when I experienced more things from commercial world, from performative world, from theater, I realized that what really fills me is something different. And at this moment is seeing how my dance has impact on someone else. Most of the time it's through teaching. I have a class and I really feel like I have an inner power to give it also to people who come to the workshop. Not just to give them technical moves or to just, I don't know, just to teach something simple, but I realized for me, the dance class is to really transform the power from me to all the people who come. And I realize it's possible because a few times I have a class and we go through many emotions through dancing together, through dancing alone, and people cry at the end, or people say that they never felt like this before. And this really fulfills me because this is what I feel is the true impact of me as a dancer. When I can show people how I feel, when I can try to try to share the same feeling I have in dance to other people that maybe even never danced before and they came to the first dance class. So it would be sharing and giving my power to other people. And it's through a workshop, through dancing, but also through performance, because I know sometimes I'm on stage and I see people in the audience. Some people see the audience as something that is far and that there is a wall. For me, audience is always part of the performance, and I am sort of responsible to really inhale them and come closer to the stage in a way. So I hope it makes sense. This is my answer.
Yeah, definitely made more than sense. Like, I really like the way you really go in depth when you explain and you just share, like, you don't just like talk up in an abstract way, you share like real life experiences. And I think that's supposed to be one of the most fulfilling things for creatives, the impact, right? And I think we share a whole lot in common, like our organization and you as an individual. We share a whole lot in common, especially in terms of impact and fulfillment and all. So thank you so much, Kristen. Your expression as a dancer communicates in all depth, beauty, and simplicity. Can you share some of the impact you hope to make through dance in the coming years? I know you've shared some already. And are there anything like maybe projects or something that you hope to achieve in the coming years?
Uh, I think I think right now it would be, it's not really about projects or things like this, because I know how short term these things could be. Sometimes it happens, you are happy about it 2-3 days and then it fades away. So I hope to make something that lasts a little bit longer. Right now it would probably be sort of a dream of mine to have a dance studio and to teach there, and to really have a lot of people that I can share my dance with, and have my students and create something with them, use the studio as a place for performances, for art gallery. So it's something that I work, it takes time. It's not something that will come tomorrow, but it's on my mind. And as I said, it's something that would bring a little bit of a long-termness to what I do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like, it's just as if you just went somewhere to read our minds or read our future goals or read what we do, and then you're just pouring it out because we connect, like as a brand, we connect with you in so many ways. So please, whenever you're ready for your big project, please let us know. Who knows, we may even collaborate together, because we also look forward to owning art galleries in different parts of the world. So who knows, we may just like have some kind of creative collaborations together, and we'll be, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be there to support in any little way that we can. Thank you so much,
It's
Kristen.
awesome. Thank you too.
Do you, yes, yeah, do you feel creatives in developed countries? I know this is a tricky question. Do you feel creatives in developed countries are at advantage than those in developing countries?
Mm, I think, unfortunately, I would say yes. Wow, it's a question I never actually thought about, but I would say yes, because if I look at the dance world and, for example, the amount of opportunities and events that happen in general in Europe, and I compare it with amount of events that happen in other continents, or let's say Africa, because I visited Ghana in November last year because we have family relatives there. I could feel that there is really this balance of the amount of opportunities and platforms where artists could work on. At the same time, it doesn't mean that the passion and the fire that people have is lower. Actually, what I, for example, experience in Ghana, that the dancers have so much passion and so much drive and so much fire to practice and to get better, that I never felt anywhere in in Europe. Because I think it makes sense, because the less opportunities you have, the more energy you have to work on yourself and to, let's say, get out of maybe where you are and get somewhere else. So to experience the dance practice in Ghana, in Accra, for example, was so powerful, because the dancers were there physically, they were mentally practicing, they were all as a group. And sometimes I have a practice here in Prague, and it seems that the people who come, they don't even want to be there. They just come because they have to. And this is what I haven't experienced in Ghana. Of course, it's just one country out of hundreds, but what I feel sometimes is that the drive is very big from people that have less, because sometimes dance is the only thing they have, the only way to freedom, the only way to feel that they can conquer the world, let's say. So this is beautiful to see, and I wish that there could be more opportunities for people that live, in a developing countries.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like, it even made me look at this question. I've asked it several times, but this is like a very new insight in terms of when you have less, you would want to like put in more energy. You would like that may be your passion may just be the only thing you have because you don't have like the technology or the other things. So you have to hold on to this one thing you have and just put your all into it to make it work. That is so, so true. Thank you so much. And it's so great that you were so close. Ghana is not so far from where I am. It was so great. After this interview, the next dancer we are having today is from Ghana. Like the next dancer we are having for our interview today is from Ghana. So that's really beautiful that
Amazing.
about Ghana. Maybe you get to read about her story when all the publications are out. So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, in July 2022, you had a workshop on moving with elegance and inner confidence and authenticity in moving, embracing order and chaos. These are powerful topics. Can you please share a few highlights of what they entail? Just a few highlights of what they entail.
Yes, I think both of these topics were, as I said before, about first of all, finding that all of us are dancers naturally. We just with time forget about it, and our mind is first before our intuition. So we think that we are how to say, we judge us because we forget that we can actually move. So first of all, it was about finding that all of us can dance and move. And what I really like to work with in dance are a few topics. First is elegance, because I come from breaking. I'm b-boy, and a lot of things that you do in breaking require strength and power that sometimes might seem aggressive or very tense. But what I try to do is to do the same things, but with elegance and lightness, to almost make it look like it's so easy to do, even though the thing that I was learning takes time. But at the end, I like to add a little bit of flavor that it's easy, because then I think the whole dance becomes visually and also visually pleasing, and also pleasing for me, because I don't have to push so much to do something. And other things, there is, for example, the topic of order and chaos that I like to work with, because it's the metaphor of life. Sometimes everything is in order, sometimes everything is in chaos, sometimes both. We know it so well. I know it from my life. I plan my day, but then it falls apart and I have to improvise and I have to find a way through the chaos. And this is the same in dancing, that we can prepare what we can do and improvise in between, and also be comfortable that we don't know what we do and we just feel free and go with the music. So this is what we did during the workshop, and I try to teach it more and more if I have a chance.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it has to be studied. Like, I really, really connected with just the topic, and just what you explained now is just combining dance and reality. So thank you so much for that much depth. Balancing work time, rest time is a struggle for many creatives. Please share a few tips on how you try to balance work time, rest time, and family time.
I think it has to start small. For me, it's the small steps, for example, that I turn off my phone or turn off the internet on my phone, to leave the unnecessary things away, because I realize the more information I receive, the more stressful I can get. So first thing is to limit what comes to my mind. Second thing for me, how I rest, is to be alone. It helps me a lot to relax and to really make clean mind, even though when I'm alone and I walk, there is a lot of thoughts, but then they naturally fade away. And And then it's the little things that we all know, like a good sleep and yeah, and that's all. I think it's
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think what.
This is not part of the question, but I would like to ask, mental health is also one very important thing for not just creatives but everyone. So sometimes as creatives, maybe we can get very stressed out, or maybe external issues that may affect the mental health. Do you have like any quick tips for creatives on how to balance their mental health? Or do you have any similar experience you'd like to share, or any quick tips at all you want to share
Mm,
on how to balance mental health for creatives? Yeah.
yeah, for me, what I realize about myself is I get most stressful when there is too much on my mind. Uh, and I realize that there's a lot of things that I just postpone and I just procrastinate on. And it could be just one message that takes me 1 minute to write, but I still take it away and I just gather it on the amount of tasks that I have to do. So for me, what was the change in me that started to make me feel better is that do the things that I can do now, do them and leave them away. Or if someone else can do it for me and help me with it, sort of take the issue and put it to someone else. So it's constantly leaving out things of me uh, to try to make me more empty and more empty and more empty, and not to gather, gather things without actually doing them. So it's just to know first what maybe takes the least time, do it quickly, and then I have space to focus on the bigger projects. But if I don't, if I just try to do everything and I write email, then I go draw, then another email, it's a mess. So I start from the shortest things, do them, and then have time for more important things. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. That's very, very true. Like that's where chaos come in, when we just try to pile everything at the same time without creating a structure, a balance, or a schedule. So yeah, makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you. What does success mean to you?
Success at this time is it's also a very general answer, but to be happy with myself and not to have in me an idea that someone else does things that I also want to do or need to do. So it's just to be happy with what I'm doing, be content, be satisfied with it. Even if it's even if I do one illustration a week or I have a dance class and I know I made impact on one person, it's for me already a success, because I know that in a small way I make the world a better place without trying to change millions of people at the same time. So it's just to know that, yeah, make this world a little better place in some way, and I can feel that my life is already in a way successful.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. And that is what true success means. Um, so some of the questions were skipped because you remember this was supposed to be like for last year, so we have to like make it relevant to this year. So I'm going straight to this one. Just tell us briefly about yourself as an illustrator, because we don't want to totally talk. We know this edition is for dance, but we know you're also an illustrator. So just tell us a little about yourself as an illustrator. Do you usually combine both arts, or just anything about yourself as an illustrator?
Sure. Uh, at this time, and usually I don't combine these two art forms. It's two worlds that I jump to
Yeah.
and back in, and I really enjoy it because there's a day when I'm just finished focusing on my visual art. There's a day when I'm just focusing on dancing, and when I focus on one thing, I know that the relationship and passion to the other thing gets better because I don't do it. So I really enjoy to having these worlds, and I think it's more and more important in today's world not to be afraid to do more activities and to start new things, because eventually they all communicate with each other, and I can feel I improve. If I improve as an artist, I improve as a dancer, and vice versa. And as an illustrator, I try to maintain the view that I had as a child, which means to look on the world not the way I want to see it, but to play with the reality a little bit, and to see that there is something beyond the reality that is nice and pleasant and playful and fun. So just to take simple things, objects or topics or words, language, and I try to twist it and play with it in my mind to see what else it could mean. Because I think most of the people in this world, they look at the world the way it is. But I think the world is much more than we think, and we can apply our own vision to the world and make it more special. So I hope it makes sense this way. And in terms of the technical aspect, I like to draw very simply. I'm not a realistic academic painter, but I just like to express through drawing simple things, and I'm happy with simple drawing, simple illustration, which has the meaning that I wanted to give it to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Please briefly tell us something we do not know about Kristian Mensa. And we know you told us so many things about yourself, but what do you think we do not know about you? Just one thing that you think you'd like to share.
I think there is a lot of things, because of course on social media, I just share part of what I want. I don't share my private personal life. I think for me, Instagram is a gallery, a platform to share what I create, but not so much every day how I feel and what I do. So actually, I think there is a big beauty in mystery and secrets and not knowing. So there is a lot that the world doesn't know about me. At the same time, I feel like I'm a very simple person, and I don't have any big secrets, or I don't do things that people would be surprised about. But I think what is important to say that I'm a human, and maybe on Instagram it seems like I reach the top of the world, but it's not true. And every day I have doubts, and I think every day if my journey is going well and if what I do is good. So just important for people to know that I have doubts, and all the people have doubts about themselves, and they're humans, and I'm a human too. So the most important thing is to, I don't know, make sure that we make each other feel good in this world.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. And that is so beautiful to share. Like, that is awesome, because what you just shared is even going to inspire that dancer right there that may not have even achieved like up to what you've achieved, and is just still struggling. And so if they'll feel like, oh, if Kristian has doubt and he's still able to do this much, still able to conquer the world in this way, so I can do that too. So yeah, thank you so much. That is a very powerful one you just shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this is the last but not the least question. Let's go a little poetic. If poetry is a rainbow and you have a choice of one color in that palette, what color would that be and why?
I think what I would do as a painter, what I love to do is to mix colors. So I would probably see what happens if I mix all the colors together and find find even new colors out of the rainbow that already exists. So it's not one color that I would choose, but I would discover more with the colors that I have available.
That is so beautiful. I've